1453.
Mr. Chair and members, Senate Bill 1453 prohibits a person from possessing, preparing, producing, manufacturing, distributing, selling, or exposing for sale hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoids without holding a certificate as a medical or recreational marijuana dispensary, and prevents dispensaries from doing the same without approval by the Department of Health Services. The bill also requires DHS to regulate and adopt rules relating to hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoids in the interest of public safety. Finally, the bill exempts DHS from statutory rulemaking requirements for 36 months for the purposes of regulating hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoids, and contains a Prop 105 clause requiring approval by at least 3/4 of the members. Mr. Chair, there is one proposed amendment I'd be happy to explain.
Please.
Mr. Chair and members, the 18-line SHOP amendment dated February 10th, 2023 at 2:45 p.m. modifies the definition of hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoids. It removes the prohibition of medical marijuana dispensaries from acquiring, cultivating, possessing, delivering, processing, transferring, transporting, supplying, using, or dispensing, leaving only manufacturing hemp-derived impairing cannabinoids. Finally, the amendment modifies hemp-derived and manufactured impairing cannabinoid labeling requirements and requires DHS to adopt any additional testing requirements as determined by the director. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Michael, would it be safe to say that what we're attempting to do here is focused on the hemp products that can derive THC?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Thank you. All right, with that, who do we have here?
Just gonna list them all and
Yeah, maybe we'll have like a final rush to the podium here with what little energy you have. But the lion is going to come right through that door on that side, the tiger on that side, and we'll see who survives.
All right, we'll start with John Udell, Stephen Dudley, Daniel Brooks, Morgan, why does it shift like that? Morgan Yaus and Pamela Epstein. And if I pronounced anyone's name incorrectly, I apologize. Oh, and Joe Domina.
Joe Domina's not here that
I don't
late.
see Joe anywhere.
Come on.
No. Hey, I'm just reading.
I'm up here already, ready to go.
Okay.
Good evening, Chair and committee members. My name is Pamela Epstein. I am the Chief Legal and Regulatory Officer for Terpene Belt Inc., the President of the Board of Directors of the California Cannabis Industry Association, with a long-standing history as a proud Arizonan. It is my pleasure to testify before you in support of the critical legislation, SB 1453, introduced by Senator Shope. There is an active public health crisis across the country, from New York to California and in Arizona, of hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoid products. These hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoid products are unsafe, generally untested, and often exceed potency allowances in regulated marijuana. There is a simple truth. Cannabinoids are cannabinoids regardless of source. If a cannabinoid such as Delta-9, Delta-8, Delta-10, THCV are intoxicating as marijuana, they are equally intoxicating if sourced from hemp. If they are converted via a chemical conversion process from CBD to Delta-8, Delta-10, etc., they are no less intoxicating. In fact, they are potentially more dangerous without regulatory oversight and standardization of the conversion process to ensure harmful residual solvents and heavy metals are removed from the consumer product. Children and unsuspecting adults can purchase these products at gas stations, convenience stores, and e-commerce websites with minimal, if any, age gating. There is an alarming rate of misinformed consumers when it comes to hemp, as these impairing products are often called full-spectrum hemp, Farm Bill compliant, or simply Delta. SB 1453 is a critical piece of legislation that ensures the health and safety of Arizonans. Arizona has a robust regulatory structure for cannabinoid control, the Arizona Department of Health Services, which has been regulating marijuana since 2010, mandating inventory control, labeling, and packaging standards, as well as testing requirements. The regulated marijuana industry operators stand ready to ensure Arizona consumers are provided the safest marijuana and hemp-derived manufactured impairing cannabinoid products through parity with the regulated supply chain and additional processing and testing approval regulations as necessary. We are a nation of fundamental freedoms and laws that must be balanced to ensure public health and safety. In advancing SB 1453, both can be served. Thank you for your time.
Oh, wow, they're pretty close. Thank you. Members have any questions for this testimony? Senator Burley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Ms. Epstein.
Yes.
Correct. You are aware that Department of Agriculture, State Ag has a hemp program. Are you saying that, Mr. Chair, Ms. Epstein, are you saying that it's flawed?
I'm saying that it doesn't cover manufactured products. The 2018 Farm Bill covered hemp, and it was pulled down that 0.3% of THC as a function of weight equivalent. For example, if you have a chocolate bar that weighs 50 grams, that would allow 150 milligrams of concentrated THC into that product. And that is not what was intended. That is not a de minimis amount. It is actually over the amount that a regulated marijuana product is allowed to have.
Mr. Chair,
Senator?
Ms. Epstein, I'm glad you brought up about the when you say it's in an edible. I'll just call it an edible, right? So you're going to tell me that you mastered the art of when they make a chocolate bar and they lace it with the THCs, that each bar is going to be equivalent in each bite?
The homogenization
Ms.
is,
Epstein.
oh, my apologies.
Say Mr. Chair. Or
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Burley.
Chair and Senator Borelli, my apologies. The homogenization of that chocolate bar is already being done in regulated cannabis. So that's,
Mr. Chair, ma'am, I'm going to disagree with you because I've been to several dispensaries where they've told me that when they've been cooking, they call it the kitchen, that they have that problem really making sure that each one is identical. So to say that, I think you're misleading because every manufacturer, whatever you want to call it, dispensary that are, not dispensary, but every, dispensary where they've gone to the kitchen, they've said, yeah, we kind of have a problem with consistency, making sure that it's all like a chocolate bar, several examples. But the hemp products, CBD is already tested, and therefore it cannot be above the 0.3% what it is because it comes from a different plant there. Now, Department of Health regulates marijuana, but there's so many problems with the marijuana program through the Department of Health, because this is nothing new to me. I'm the one who actually pushed the first pilot program for hemp being done here in Arizona, and then we updated it every year, every time the Department of Ag, U.S. Department of Ag, changed it, policies, this and that. We've been updating that as we go. So I'm going to disagree with you that saying that that in the stores where a kid's going to get it, he's getting intoxicated. I disagree with that because there is no proof of that. And if I had proof of that, I'd be glad to sit down with and have a conversation to say we need to fix it. However, there is a bill already going through the Senate that does address a lot of the issues that gets us up to date with the Arizona, with the U.S. Department of Agriculture as they've kept changing their stuff. Now, when we go to talk about testing, let me see here.
I'm not seeing.
Are you aware of back in February 2022 that there was a, let me see, Dew Point Laboratory was fined in Arizona. They were fined $500,000 for repeated violations through their testing laboratories. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of the specifics of that, Senator Borelli, no.
Okay, well, I'm done with the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's no mention of the testing in the bill.
Mr. Chair, I beg to differ because what we're trying to do here is we have turf warfare, one gourding the other's ox. So we already have a problem that's regulated through our Department of Agriculture. And we have another, I think, an end run around another industry. But I'll let you proceed.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Epstein? Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, we got it updated now here. There it is. Please introduce yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Steve Dudley. I will try my best to not hold you up past 8:15, but it's looking pretty bad.
Oh, who knows?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm a clinical toxicologist and director of the Arizona Poison and Drug Information Center, one of the 2 poison centers in Arizona. And I'm here to voice support for this bill and the regulation of the intoxicating hemp derivatives.
Okay.
As we talked about very briefly, hemp, we think about the psychoactive component of THC, we think about delta-9 THC. And as we talked about, hemp by definition has less than 0.3% delta-9 THC. What we're seeing right now, though, is there are other psychoactive substances like delta-8 that is in very, very small concentrations in naturally derived cannabis plants. The issue that we're seeing in the real world, though, is that because delta-8 is technically not illegal, there's a lack of regulation, and we see these synthetic products that have been lab tested, independent lab tested, that have hundreds, if not 1,000 times the concentration of delta-8 as you would find in naturally derived plants. From the Poison Center standpoint, we've seen this through and through. We've actually worked with the FDA to issue an alert on this very issue. And the problem we run into is that with these products, they are there is a disproportionate toxicity for children. Last year, nationwide, Poison Centers had over 1,300 exposures to delta-8 THC products themselves. Half of those involved children, 70% of those involved hospitalizations, and there's even a couple of deaths. Unfortunately, the most recent one was a 4-year-old in Virginia. And so I'm here today to say that there are other states who are doing legislative action on this. I think we have a chance to learn from other states' experiences and hardships to protect some of the Arizonans from unnecessary toxicities or worse. And with that, that is my spiel. I don't know how to do it on time, but I'll take any questions.
30. You finished with 30 seconds left.
Fantastic.
All right, Senator Borelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and sir, very eloquent testimony, very good. You familiar with the product of called Eagle 20?
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Senator Borelli? No, I'm not.
Okay, just Mr. Chairman and sir, Eagle 20 is antifungal pesticides banned in tobacco because it's a heavy carcinogen. But are you aware of that? A lot of the dispensaries here, the growers use Eagle 20 to cut down on the mold and bacteria because they're growing indoors?
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, so I'm aware of these processes. I think the issue, though, from your point, are kind of 2 different conversations. What we're talking about right here are synthetic, unregulated products, not anything close to what you're being found. These are found online, in gas stations, in smoke shops, not to be confused with dispensaries. And so we've had nationwide thousands of these exposures to these delta-8 products, and we know that number's underreported because it's getting looped in with regular cannabinoids. And so we see an issue nationwide.
Mr. Chair and sir, I've been pretty much knee deep in this whole thing because when I started the hemp program here in Arizona, I said it's rope, not dope. And this is the first time I'm hearing that there's a hemp product with the THC levels that are illegal in Arizona. And let me see, bring it to me. I mean, show it to me, show me where it comes from. This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. One, again, we're not talking about, I think the issue is that the marketing of this, they're being marketed as hemp-derived products. These are synthetic, man-made products. These are not really coming from hemp. That's the issue. It's a marketing issue that they're trying to fit through a legal loophole. Secondary, I can definitely get you the FDA report that they sent out last year with the data from the poison centers. Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, can one of the pages hand in my card?
Well, yeah, there's an opening on that side. Maybe it's over here.
There you go. She's faster.
I don't need you to jump over the deal, though. So. All right. Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay. Daniel Brooks.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, thank you. My name is Dan Brooks. I'm the physical physician, medical director of the Poison Center here in town. And we are in support of this bill, 1453. We admit kids with accidental exposure to these products every week. We take care of them. At least once a month, we have someone who's intubated in an ICU in one of the children's hospitals in town because of these unregulated products. I will admit that we cannot test them because the parents or the caregivers don't always bring in the products, But we have taken care of folks that have said, hey, I've brought this stuff online, or it's hemp-derived product, and the child comes in comatose and needs critical access hospital care in the ICU. So we support this. We think it presents a public health threat, and the regulation will help prevent these accidental exposures and injuries.
Excellent. Senator.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and sir, so let me get this straight. You're saying a child bought something at a corner store, and thinking they was buying a CBD product, but it was a synthetic CBD or whatever, and they got hospitalized for this?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, you would think that that'd be all over the news, that something like that happened. I haven't heard that, haven't seen that. And if it is the case, please send me those articles. Because you would think that never mind, I'm done with you. I'm done. No more questions. I'm not buying it. Thank you.
Excellent.
No questions.
Thank you. All right. John Udell. You got it. Oh, dang. Please.
Chairman Shope, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is John Udell, and I rise on behalf of Arizona Normal today in opposition to SB 1453. There's been a lot of safety concerns that have been made in this hearing so far that have been expressed, and as many of you know, my organization and its previous leadership have long supported strong regulations to protect the health and safety of cannabis consumers in Arizona. However, the question before the legislature today and before this committee is not whether it will support SB 1453 or leave the market for hemp-derived products devoid of consumer protections. The question before the legislature is whether it will allow the Department of Agriculture to continue its traditional role of regulating hemp-derived products, albeit with stronger protections, or if it will transfer regulatory responsibility to the Department of Health Services, where limited licensing will cause increased market power for the industry. To that point, SB 1271, a competing alternative to this bill, has been introduced by Majority Leader Borelli and advanced out of the Natural Resources, Energy, and Water Committee last week. My understanding is that SB 1271 resulted from a collaborative process with the Department of Agriculture to protect consumers and to bring legal certainty to Arizona's hemp program by aligning it more closely with federal law. It's true that a smattering of bad actors may be cutting corners without enough oversight, but SB 1271 solves those problems in a manner that helps Arizona farmers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses instead of providing ever greater market power to the industry. Instead of erecting barriers to entry that don't solve the problem and foreclose all competition, SB 1271 adopts common sense reforms that are geared towards consumer safety and keeping kids off of drugs. We urge the committee to reject this bill and to end the industry's bid for uncontested control. To the extent that stronger safety protections are needed in 1271, we would urge the industry and legislators to improve that bill and give the Department of Agriculture the direction it may need to properly regulate this emerging market. Thank you, and with that, I stand for questions.
Members have any questions for John? Senator Borelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Udall. So you're saying that this current bill actually creates more problems than it solves, and it actually hurts the entire hemp program that is run by our Arizona Department of Ag?
Chair? Yes, that's exactly correct. If there are problems that need to be solved, we should be solving them through the Department of Agriculture the way it's traditionally been handled for hemp. There's limited licensing for the marijuana industry. The hemp program is more capitalistic. There's more competition there. And to the extent we need to solve problems, let's go ahead and solve them, but do it under that model, as we've been doing under your leadership, Senator Borelli, instead of this new model.
And Mr. Chair?
Mr. Borelli.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Mr. Udall. So if the Arizona hemp program is not in compliance with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, it can get shut down by the federal government?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Yes, sir, that's my understanding.
Thank you.
Or is there any other questions? Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We have coins being minted for all of you for staying this long today. Pele.
Good
Good evening. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Statehood Day. For the record, Pele Fisher on behalf of the Arizona Dispensaries Association. I just quickly want to touch on the fact that this is in no way disrupting our industrial hemp program. We are supportive of a thriving hemp program. The hemp program regulates the growing of hemp and products that have less than 0.3% THC. What we're talking about in this bill is a public health crisis, that there are products with over 0.3% THC being sold to kids in smoke shops, gas stations. You've heard from Poison Control. This isn't a turf battle. This is about protecting youth from products that contain THC. Currently, right now, our Department of Ag regulates the growing of crops, not human consumptible products. Yes, there is a bill out there to talk about how we regulate hemp products, but those products should not be THC products. THC products are THC products, and right now in Arizona, those are regulated by our Department of Health Services as marijuana products. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I just want you to know Poison Control is here because of the importance of youth getting access to products in an unregulated market that have high concentrations of THC, because they are not regulated, they are not tested, they're not asked to show ID to buy them, and it's a huge public health crisis that we need to address now.
Excellent. Members have any questions for Pele? Thank you very much. All right. We've exhausted our lists. No? Oh, okay.
Morgan, Joe, and Sully. Morgan Youse, Joe DeMina, and Sully Sullivan still logged in.
Well, we know Joe's not here. So.
And Rob Gallagher.
Rob Gallagher, not signed in to speak.
I don't see him.
He's a no. Yeah. Morgan and
Why does
Sully.
it keep updating like that? Do I have to push that?
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. Usually it doesn't show up. But.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the
Welcome.
committee. For the record, my name is Sully Sullivan, and I rise today to respectfully oppose SB 1453 on behalf of HEDA, the Hemp Industry Trade Association of Arizona. I am the executive director of HEDA and a 4-year council member with the Department of Agriculture's Hemp Advisory Council. It is my responsibility to advise the Department of Ag on how to grow, sustain, and protect the Arizona hemp program. This bill hurts the Arizona hemp industry and has significant detrimental effects on the hemp program. If this bill passes in its current form, it would restrict commerce, block hemp importing and exporting, cripple the Arizona hemp industry, and many small businesses and farmers would go out of business. These hemp products are being processed, manufactured, and sold in Arizona by small businesses under the Arizona hemp program. Most of these businesses survive solely off of producing these products. They would not survive if this bill passes, and the Department of Ag would see a sharp decline of license renewals and new license applications. The hemp products discussed in this bill have been deemed federally legal by the 2018 Farm Bill, and they conform to rulings of court. These products are legally considered hemp because they are not above 0.3% THC. Since all hemp products are regulated by the Department of Ag, these hemp products fall under the regulatory purview of the Department of Ag. Any concerns of these products should be addressed by the Department of Ag. This bill does affect the Arizona hemp program directly because it seeks to take the regulation of hemp products away from the Department of Ag. There is confusion about the health impact of these products. These products are not synthetic. They are not synthetically created in a lab. They are converted directly from hemp. The data shows that hemp-derived products have been proven non-toxic and no deaths have been attributed to them. The death cited today in Virginia was ruled to be caused by child neglect and not Delta-8. The FDA has said that these products have not been evaluated by the FDA, and consumers should be aware of this misleading packaging. The DEA has confirmed these products are federally legal and do not fall under their purview. We can protect minors by regulating these products under the Department of Ag to ensure they are only allowed to people over 21 and are kept behind the counter or in a locked case. We respectively and adamantly do not support this bill in its current form, but we are more than happy to sit down through the stakeholder process to discuss these issues and ensure farmers and small businesses are not put out of business. Mr. Chair, members, thank you for your time. I stand for any questions.
Members have any questions? Mr. Burley?
I want to disappoint you.
Trust me, my patience level is longer and higher than anybody could imagine.
That's true. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Sully, now when a hemp plant is grown, Department of Agriculture already tests it to make sure that the THC levels are below the legal amount, correct?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Borrelli, yes.
So in its raw form, it does not have high THC levels. Mr. Chair, Mr. Sully, when it's in its raw form, it does not have high THC levels.
Senator Chairman, Senator Borrelli, that's correct.
Right. So Mr. Sully, so Mr. Chair, Mr. Sully, so when it's going through the whole process of making CBD oil or shampoo or whatever, I mean, there's 1,000 different products that come from the hemp plant, because it's two different plants. It's marijuana and then there's hemp. Like I said, it's rope, not dope. So when it finally gets to packaging, some seed to packaging, seed to sale, it's completely controlled by the Department of Agriculture.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Borrelli, that's correct. As long as it is not above 0.3% THC under the 2018 Farm Bill, it's federally under the purview of the Department of Agriculture.
Mr. Burrell.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Sully, so the gentleman before referred to my bill. My bill fixes all the problems that they're concerned with.
Senator Shope, Mr. Chairman. and Senator-
I can't have you answer that
Yeah,
question
okay.
because it's a different bill and that's not what's in front of us.
Okay.
Okay.
Neither of the
Okay.
rules attorneys have already reached out to me about that.
Oh, okay. And I retract that question. Let me come up with another one.
I feel like I'm watching my cousin Vinny now, you know. It's just, but hey, you look, but you got cowboy boots on, so you know
That's
that's
right.
you fit right
It's
in.
like I
We're good.
blend. Do not say use.
That's right.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Sully, so if the Arizona Health Program is not in compliance with the federal government, it's shut down completely, correct?
Mr. Chair, Senator Borrelli, that is correct.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Sully, how did you get involved with the hemp program?
Mr. Chair, Senator Borrelli, I'm the executive director of HEDA. I was also a hemp farmer back in 2019. I grew 70 acres of hemp outside of Yuma. We processed hemp into CBD. In 2019, the hemp market crashed due to oversupply and demand. We lost 95% of our margins. Most of the hemp industry was seriously affected. The Arizona industry has been fractured completely. These hemp-derived products have single-handedly saved the hemp industry. And if we can clarify that they are regulated by the Department of Ag, which it is clear in the law, then the Arizona industry can be revived and repaired, and we can have a thriving industry in Arizona for hemp that can bring in more tax dollars and have more farmers and more small businesses and more jobs.
So, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Burley.
Mr. Sully, so I can say that you've been on the ground floor, deep roots in Arizona with the hemp program and seen it grow.
Mr. Chair, Senator Borrelli, that is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm to assume, Mr. Sully, that there is no THC derived from any of your product or any hemp farmer in the state of Arizona that is taking product to sale.
Mr. Chair, the 2018 Farm Bill states that hemp is anything not above 0.3% THC. So as long as that product is not above 0.3% THC, it is considered hemp and falls under the purview of the Department of Ag.
Right. Well, I think that's fantastic because I don't believe that that's what we're trying to do here. Because so then you should be fine. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. We have Morgan.
Hello, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Morgan Yaus. I traveled from Lakeside, Arizona on my own behalf to come here and show my support for SB 1453. I currently work as an analytical chemist at a state certified cannabis testing facility. The issue here is not hemp. It is what is being synthesized from the hemp. The CBD is synthesizing delta 8, which is a THC. Furthermore, the synthesis is not controlled. The synthesis is what happens in the pharmaceutical industry, not the agricultural industry. And in the pharmaceutical industry, they are held to certain standards where they have to show that the byproducts that are produced during the synthesis do not cause harm, or that they can be removed from the synthesis. And that's not what's happening in these products. I have tested these products personally. I have found multiple chromatographic peaks that we cannot identify. I have found 0.7% THCA in these products, above the limit. When it's in hemp, it is in a smaller abundance, but once it is concentrated, it obviously concentrates in the final product. So they do have THC. They're not being tested to see if the THC is there. Currently, in the cannabis realm, a producer has to show that anything that they use during their extraction process is removed from the final product, and that is not what is happening here. And that's really all I have to say. Is there any questions?
Members have any questions for Morgan? Seeing none? All right. Double checking here to see if anybody else. All right. I think we're good.
Hang on a second, I'm trying to look something up.
Chair,
Yes.
I do have a question for the speaker.
Please
Wow.
come back on up.
While Senator is looking for his question, searching for his question, I guess I can ask a question. Chair, thank you very much. My question is, this bill specifically speaks to synthesized chemicals. That's the way I understand it. It's not something that you grow, you want to smoke it, sell it, or whatever. And I certainly trust Borelli's, my colleague's assessment on his experiences, but that is my concern, is synthesizing a product, because it opens up a whole different discussion of any type of drugs that is out there. I know that the impact and the result of synthesized products has a lot of consequences. And I think that that is what this bill is speaking to, if I'm to understand it accurately, Chair, and that specifically for ingesting the product. So thank you very much. And that's the way you understand it, right?
Sure.
Is that to me or to? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that is the way that I understand it.
Thank you.
All right.
To that point?
Yes, Senator.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So since, to that point, synthesized products are already illegal. We passed a bill a few years back to make sure that that kratom, for example, is another organic plant or whatever, then it cannot be adulterated. We passed that law. You can't adulterate it because it's a natural.
Chair.
But once again, synthesizing something to be an intoxicant is already illegal.
Chair. So delta 8 naturally occurs in cannabis, but in such minuscule amounts that you would not be able to extract it and come out with a concentrated product. So what the hemp market does is they isolate the CBD and they synthesize CBD into delta 8, and that is how delta 8 products are on the market. That is how they are made. They do not naturally occur.
Right, which is the purpose, the entire purpose of this legislation.
Mr. Chair.
It's already illegal.
Senator Birch.
Then how can we?
Or
Chair?
who was that?
Mr. Chair, yeah, that was me. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? Yeah, my understanding is that this bill does not stop synthesis, that it says that only dispensaries can sell synthesized products. Is that incorrect, or is that correct?
Chair. That is correct, but it would also mean that these products have to go through the same testing as comparable to cannabis. So you have to make sure that everything you use during the synthesis is not on the product. So right now in cannabis, if a manufacturer is extracting with ethanol, they have to make sure there's no more ethanol on their product. Furthermore, if these synthetic cannabinoids were illegal, why can I go into a smoke shop and buy THC? Why can I buy Delta 10? Why can I buy Delta 8?
Any other questions?
Well, go ahead. I'll let her go.
All right.
Thank you.
He's leaving you off the hook.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Senator Watzak.
My main question here is that it's I don't want it to hurt the hemp industry, but I do agree to the cannabis industry being, not, I don't like the word regulated, but being sold through or obtained through the dispensaries. But at the same time, I also like the idea that people can grow their own portion in their backyard and have rights to what they've grown. This bill is it's encompassing kind of it touches on a lot of different things, and I just want to hear from you maybe what exactly this is supposed to entail, because I think there's a lot of things.
You can grow your own marijuana, but not hemp.
Correct, but that's where I'm just trying to with
Right.
all the different opinions that are out there
This
and
bill is-
everybody's
this
just,
bill's
if you could just
entirely
do it.
about this bill's entirely about THC. It's why I asked the question just a second ago. The previous testifier. Look, I don't think anybody's here is trying to come down on the poor hemp farmer that's out there that I think that we're all feeling sympathy for this evening. We are, however, looking at the process at which point the THC comes into question. That's why I asked Michael Madden when he described the bill earlier, just to confirm, based on our own House research staff, that this bill entirely is about that process, the THC process, and that's what we're looking at here. And whether that should be regulated under Department of Ag or Department of Health, my thought is that process, much like dispensaries, ought to be regulated over there in health. And that's the basis of the bill for me.
And to that point, does it in any way affect the hemp industry? Does this bill in any way affect the hemp industry?
Senator Watzak, I would imagine not, unless the hemp industry is somehow complicit in that, but I don't believe that they are. I would never cast that aspersion.
And then one more question. Is this bill going to in any way hinder somebody's ability to grow it themselves according to the amount that they're allowed to grow legally and to do with what they wish with their grown product? Is this going to affect them?
To my knowledge, this bill does not touch
Marijuana?
that. This bill does not touch
does
that
not touch
process
that.
whatsoever.
Hemp or marijuana? Okay.
They can
You can't.
Do what they want.
Adult use marijuana, they can grow their own. You can't grow hemp.
Oh, you can't grow hemp in your
No, it's
backyard?
not.
Gotcha. It's agriculture. That's an agriculture.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm just learning. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the breadth of this. Okay. Oh, by a farmer. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
All right. We have reached the end of the internet. No, I'm just joking. The end of the folks here to testify. Madam Vice Chair, if you please move the bill.
But there no more discussion?
We get to that point. It's after the motion. I do it right.
I just do as I'm told. Mr. Chair, I move Senate Bill 1453 with a due pass recommendation. I move the 18-line SHOP amendment dated February 10th at 14:45 be adopted.
Excellent. Members, you've heard that motion. All those in favor, vote aye. Opposed, vote nay. Appears you guys have it so ordered. All right. The bill as amended, and then we'll have discussion. If anyone feels the need to do so, that's not their, actual vote explanation.
Mr. Chair, I move Senate Bill 1453 as amended for a due pass recommendation.
All right, members, you've heard that motion. Is there any further discussion?
Well, yes, Mr. Chair, I have a problem when they keep coming up here and saying there's testing. We do all these testing, we have all these labs. I mean, there's so much, without disparaging anybody, I'm gonna leave, you have so much commingling going on with these labs. We've had problems with these labs in years. In other words, you cannot be a marijuana dispensary and then have your own lab or be connected with the labs. We had to change a lot of stuff, and a lot of it's kind of like still going on, shenanigans all the time. But back in 22, I'll just leave the name of the company out. A laboratory that tests marijuana in Arizona has been fined nearly $500,000 for repeated violations. The laboratory reached an agreement after the state threatened to pull their lab license. Inspection showed violations go back to September of 2020. A report prepared by Arizona Department of Health states deficiencies and violations were committed intentionally and are a risk to safety, health, safety, and the welfare of the public and the medical marijuana qualifying patients. During inspections, the company found to have incomplete records and documentation to inventory marijuana disposal, maintenance records for equipments, chemical storage, and employee training. In testing for contamination, inspectors found machines not properly calibrated to detect levels accurately, including pesticides, herbicides, solvents, including propane, butane, heavy metals, including lead, mercury, arsenic, E. coli, and salmonella. The lab was tied to a marijuana recall after salmonella contamination. Inspectors found lab employee trained to use the technique that produced inflated potency results, higher potency of product, and more dispensaries for the more dispensaries can charge. If the levels are high, THC levels are high, they can charge more. Security lapses were also documented according to the reports. Inspectors witnessed. I can go on and on and on. We don't have all night long. I'll send you the link here to this. Was in the Arizona Channel 3, Channel 5, Arizona Family News.
You don't trust those guys, Senator Borelli. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. I do appreciate that. But I would argue, I mean, look, I think that shows that a regulator did come down on an entity, and I think that's what they're supposed to do. We had a conversation earlier on a different bill about the need for regulation. I think you and I are probably, because I know we've talked about it, we're probably in agreement on a lot of as far as testing goes, that it probably shouldn't be handled completely in-house. So, that's not what this bill is, though. So,
well, to that point, Mr. Chair, synthesizing anything that goes beyond the levels is already illegal.
Is there anyone have any further discussion before we have the secretary call the roll? All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pass. Let's save some more.
Mr. Chair, explain my vote.
Please.
So I know there's some competing interests with the two different bills that are out in the world right now. I agree with the senator from District 30. Hemp should certainly be regulated, but not by DHS. It is true that we don't know about the safety of Delta 10 or Delta 8. It's unclear if that issue is dosing or if it's contamination or if it's the solvents that they use to make it. We absolutely need to have warnings and need to have testing, but not by the people who are already failing us on testing, and not in a way that gives total market control to the dispensaries. It's not the right solution, and I vote no.
Yes.
Pass.
I like to explain my vote?
Please.
We're all too
I
tired.
have to say that I concur with Senator Birch on this. One of the things that I don't like about what I'm learning about the dispensaries and the marijuana industry is the vertical integration bothers me a lot. It bothers me in healthcare. It bothers me in absolutely everything. And the fact that the testing is not reliant and there's already a law, I'm going to have to, I'm a no.
Pass again.
I think you can only pass once.
Mr. Chair, may I explain my vote?
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think a lot of these issues have already been mitigated and taken care of from the ground level, pardon the pun. We have started this program as a pilot program by the USDA, and we've moved it forward. It kept updating, and every time they did, the industry has made sure that they stayed in compliance. Our Department of Agriculture is doing a great job with this. We literally put money in the budget for this, that kind of thing, to help them get started, to bump start the whole thing. When the plant is raw, before anything gets done processing, and when you process something, you're going to lose a little bit of potency on anything. So even its wet weight cannot be over the standard. So Department of Ag is already doing a great job on this. Department of Health regulates marijuana. There's already problems with the Department of Health on the way they're doing this whole thing anyway, because there's so many confidentiality clauses that are in the program. They have special privileges that no other industry in this state has. Well, but that's another issue for another time when I want to cross swords again with some folks, but I vote no.
Chair, I'd like to explain my vote.
Please.
Certainly, we've learned a lot. Thank you for everybody that was here to testify. I'm not sure how I'm going to vote on the floor, but I am concerned about what the poison control people spoke on this bill. I'm concerned about children getting into these, not intentionally. Some maybe being able to buy some of these products. And so I'm going to vote yes to get it out of committee, but I do not guarantee I'm going to vote for it on the floor. I think there's a lot more to be discussed and in this bill. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I think the bill has a lot of potential, and I think there are some good points, but there are some very confusing points to this as well that I think it needs to perhaps be resurrected at another time with more discussion. For this moment, I am pro dispensary, I'm pro hemp, I'm pro marijuana, pro medical marijuana. It's, if you want to grow it in your backyard and smoke it, you can do that. Everybody has freedom to do what they want. But there's this bill just doesn't speak to me at this moment, and I don't quite, I'm not comfortable with an I vote, so I vote no.
Let me explain my vote. I just want to thank everybody here for being here. The coins are still on their way. Please trust me. But we missed an opportunity here tonight to do some good. And unfortunately, children are going to still find products that are advertised as being hemp-derived and such, and they're going to have THC in them. We missed a great opportunity. I congratulate the folks who were the victors this evening, but the real losers tonight are the children that are going to be getting this product. So with that, I vote aye. Three, four, yeah. With a vote of 3 ayes, 4 nays, and 0 not voting, you have failed to pass Senate Bill 1453. We'll move on to our final bill.